guys, and welcome to the third episode here on the Cavalier family. Now, this week we'll be discussing the top 5 music. Now, this week will be a little bit different, so I'll go ahead and go into the description a little later. But for right now, we're here to thank Kevin Holmes for a lot of the graphic work that he's done. Also, like to thank To the Stars We Return, who's done a lot of musical elements, which you can find on all social platforms, as well as Apple Music. Again, To the Stars We Return, done with Justin Dye, who is actually Justin Dye. Then you have, of course, Stephen Dawson, who's done a lot of the research. The gentleman to my left, where my head's going, is my right, Mr. Kevin himself, and myself, who's done a lot of the research as well. And as far as updates go, just be on the lookout for, different theming as far as Halloween goes, because the month coming up is October. We're not going to pick a year. What we're just going to do is just discuss Halloween things. So we're going to kind of take a break off of the year, and then hopefully we can film something as far as, table reads go, and kind of introduce you guys to a script that I wrote. But with that in mind, we'll go ahead and, oh, by the way, on this episode, it will be a little bit shorter. You can blame it on me because I did send Kevin the actual outline with the music located on there, so he knows exactly what to read. As you can see, Ro is still on vacation. Ro is on vacation, so he's not able to make it through this episode. But also, the reason why the music section is going to be a little cut off short is because we're here to discuss Clerks 3. Now, if you're watching it, of course, now, if you haven't seen my spoiler-free review, you can do so by the little pop-up that's going to be showing here. I try not to spoil anything. However, if you guys are watching this or listening to this, this is going to be a spoiler talking point, because if you don't know already, I don't think anybody's prepared for this movie. So I don't think anybody's prepared for this movie. That's why it's going to be all spoiler talk. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss the top music first, and then after that, if you guys want to head on out, don't listen to the spoilers, and then come back later, you're more than welcome to. But with that in mind, we'll go ahead and introduce the gentleman to my left.
Hi, everybody. I don't care as much about the music today as I do about Clerks 3. I'm going to be honest with you. That movie tore me apart. That being said, there's some good music on this list.
There is.
We'll I guess I'll sit here through this until we have to talk about it, or until we talk about Clerks 3.
Well, this is going to be a little bit quicker than we usually do, so let's hop back in time in 2002.
Back in time.
All right, and welcome back to 2002. The music information that we have came from Billboard.com. Some of the honorable mentions is In the End by Linkin Park, Without Me by Eminem, Blurry by Puddle of Mud, Hero by Chad Kroeger featuring Josie Scott, who, if you don't know, lead singer of Seether. Chad Kroeger is the lead singer of Nickelback. Lose Yourself by Eminem, and Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne. Now, those are a lot of heavy hitters as far as us growing up. A lot of songs that we remember. And of course, we discussed in the past, I think Nickelback gets a bad rap.
I do. I still like them. If a song comes on, I'm not changing it. And you can't tell me. It's not going to happen. Nobody can tell me.
Before, short leeway here. I was putting our daughter down for a couple of weeks. And
Was it humane?
Really? So I was putting her down for bed, and I was putting her down for bed, and what I would do is I would play music from my phone off of YouTube, and every single time was going to be a different artist. Like I played some AC/DC, played some Metallica, I played some hip hop in there as well, clean stuff, because
Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh yes, and that WAP, absolutely.
Nice.
No, gross. But I played some Avril Lavigne too, and I also played some Nickelback too for her, and she enjoyed it, and she really enjoys AC/DC as well. Haven't played Highway to Hell for obvious reasons, but Thunderstruck is one of them that she enjoys. Also played some of the, of course, the ballads, the rock ballads. Absolutely. I don't think I've introduced Poison yet, as far as like Every Rose has a Thorn song by Poison.
Right.
Yeah, meh, exactly. But it got to the point where all she wanted to do is for me to put her to bed. And the thing is my wife and I, we always have like this thing where it's like, if you and I were co-parenting, it would be you for one night and then me, and then you for the next night and then me for the next night. But if she asked you to put her to bed for like a night, like, hey, are you sure you want to do it? Yeah, no problem. Then you'll put her to bed. If it goes for 3 nights, like so we kind of bounce off one another. Like sometimes she'll put her down for like 3 nights in bed while I do like stuff like this, or I record. But it got to the point where all she wanted was daddy, because as soon as I sat down, she would say, songs?
Music.
And my wife doesn't do it. So
Music.
So like it was hard for her because of the fact that when she would sit down, she would ask for songs, or she would ask for daddy for songs. So I kind of had to stop it because, we need her to go to bed. But at the same time, though, we can't have her get put in bed by one single parent. Otherwise, she's not going to listen to the other parent.
That's fair.
So yeah,
so also kind of adorable. So let's be honest.
So back on track here. Number 1 is How You Remind Me by Nickelback. Number 2 was Foolish by Ashanti. Number 3 was Hot and Her by Nelly. Number 3 is Dilemma by Nelly, featuring Kelly Rowland, who is the sister, right? She's the sister to Beyonce, right? Okay.
Is she sisters? I knew that they were in, what was it, TLC? Not
No.
TLC.
Destiny's Child. Yeah.
Right. I didn't know they were sisters. Honestly.
I thought so. And because Kelly Rowland also has the song Motivation with Lil Wayne, which is for all the adults there. If you're looking for a song, well, let's just say playing wrestling with your significant other.
I love wrestling with my significant other. I like to get her in like a rear naked choke. So
oh, he goes for the neck breaker.
DDP.
Frog splash.
Oh, you mean, my bad. My bad, man.
But that song is great for that extracurricular activity. And then number 5 is Wherever You Will Go by The Calling, which is kind of like a one-hit wonder type situation.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at this, my top 5 is Linkin Park.
Yep, 1.
In number 1. Yeah. Okay. So we're on the same page, right? I'm gonna have to go. My punk rock's gonna come out here, and it's gonna have to be Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne. It's gonna be 2 for me, and then I'm gonna go with. Nope. Okay, it's gonna go Linkin Park, Puddle of Mud, Lose Yourself.
That's my number 2.
Skater Boy. And then Hot in Here by Nelly. That's how I'm going with it.
So
I was a huge Nelly fan, but
well, back in the day where you had the little band-aid,
little band-aid over me. Yeah, absolutely.
Number 1 would be Linkin Park for me. Lose Yourself would be number 2. I'm trying to go back to like 12-year-old me. I'm not gonna lie, it was during my hip hop and R&B time period, so I will say Foolish by Ashanti.
Oh no. I like it.
Hero.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Because Spider-Man. And Blurry. Because I mean, Puddle of Mud, it did the song Hate Me.
Yep.
It got me through a lot during like the junior high and high school period, so I have to put in Puddle of Mud there.
And if there was any Blink 182 on here, it would be all of that for me. So
yes.
That's just I'm right, you're wrong. That's how it is. That's just
because all the small
small
things,
things.
because truth cares and truth
brings.
brings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was
Because late night.
Stop. I can't do it anymore. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. They don't listen to us sing. There's no way.
No. All right. So, and that is your guys' top 5 music of 2002. Now, with that in mind, this is where we will be discussing Clerks 3. So, if you don't want to listen to spoilers, feel free to go ahead and come back and listen. But this is your warning in 3, 2, 1.
Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and
Obviously, I did a review on it. So let's have your review on it.
Oh gosh, you want me to do a review?
We'll do a review. Okay, what you thought of the movie without talking about the ending, because we will talk about the ending a little later.
I think, Kevin Smith movies in general are such a niche thing, right? They have to be. When I was sitting in that theater today, it wasn't a full theater. There was maybe 15, 20 people at max inside this theater. It was probably the same for you, right? So, I mean, like, the people that come out to see these movies aren't people that are like walking in and be like, all right, I'm gonna see these movies. We're talking about people that have got their tickets online, know what they're gonna go see, because you're looking at one preview, one showing a night for like 3 nights, and then that's it. I remember going and seeing Clerks 2. Was that 2006? And remembering being like, oh wow, like this is amazing. I don't think it ever gets any better than this. Now we fast forward to tonight when I saw the movie, and better to me, but in such a different way. Like, I felt like I got so much closure on this movie, but also, I don't know, I'm still sad from the movie. Like, I'm still like, I'm a little bit like worked up still from the movie, because like I know like this is it now to me. But I mean, I loved it. I love the direction in which he went. I loved the shockers there. I mean, there was a shocker right off the bat. So I went into this movie dry as possible. I didn't want to know anything. Unfortunately, I did find out. You said this is spoilers?
Yeah, this is spoilers.
Okay. I did know about Randall having a heart attack.
Right. It was in the trailer.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I mean, like that, but that is as far as I went into this.
Yep.
So I didn't want to know anything more. And I was just sat there, and it was like a roller coaster of emotions for me the entire movie. Review wise, like I said, it's such a niche thing. To me, it was a beautiful movie, and it was just as beautiful as any Oscar winner in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, Todd. I'm emotional from it. I started crying. I was crying in this movie. My wife was sitting next to me crying, and she had no idea who Kevin Smith was until 8 years ago when we, and now she's like a huge Kevin Smith fan, huge J Muse fan. You met her. You see now how excited she gets. She goes to me with these events and stuff like that. And I got to share like this last defining moment in the Clerks series with my wife. And to me, like that means everything to my love of film and my love of like the universe that he created. So like, this is one of my honest to God favorite cinema moments of my life. Truthfully, a lot of people think very differently, because a lot of people, think very differently of Kevin Smith, but to me, it was amazing. Without going into anything too deep that we'll get into later. I loved it. It was great. I can't wait to go see it. Or I can't go see it. I wish I could go see it again tomorrow, but I can't. Maybe I can. No, I can't. I don't have time. So now we play the sit and wait game for it to come out on DVD.
Yep.
Right. Maybe VHS if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm. See, with that for me, I feel because you had, of course, Jay and Silent Bob reboot, right? And just like Star Wars, when Force Awakens came out, felt like childhood. Reboot trailer came out, super excited for it, not knowing what I'm getting myself into, except another Jay and Silent Bob movie. Because let's face it, the last one wasn't really heartfelt. You just went in for like a fun movie, and that's what you got. A lot of his writing, because in the review, like it was not like in the camera, like all go giddy, like type of review. Again, you guys can watch it, it's on the channel. But I sat down in this chair and I looked at the camera and I'm talking like how I'm talking now, because it deserves that type of attention, like a serious attention. Because the bottom line is Kevin Smith, in the beginning, he wasn't a serious writer in terms of heartfelt. There are heartfelt moments, but he wrote for you to have fun in the theater, to laugh, to joke, to get out of the movie like, hey, that's a funny movie, whether if you're high, drunk, or sober. It didn't matter, that you can always watch it over and over. But I feel like as he's gotten older, he's been able to kind of grasp the sense of writing style that has been in there with him, but it was just never showcased. Like, for an example, like if you go through all this series of movies, there hasn't been really a serious connection until like Clerks 2, when they're in the prison. Then you have that heartfelt moment. Even in the original Clerks, there wasn't really a heartfelt moment. But in the second one, that's when you have Randall, of course, spew out the fact that it's his best friend. Like, he loves the guy. It's like, if he wasn't without Dante, then, who would he be type of individual? And to me, I feel like that's where it kind of started to, come undone, as far as showcasing the strength of the writing that he does have, that he doesn't really showcase. And then you go into Tusk and you go into Yoga Hosers, and that's all of like his previous stuff that it's fun and it's enjoying, you go to the theater for. And then coming back to Jay and Silent Bob reboot, again, it was something I was not expecting. I was not expecting Jay to have a daughter. I mean, yeah, you can kind of tell that in the trailer, but you think it's going to be all fun, go giddy. But there are some serious moments within that flick that showcases the strength that he can like produce as far as a writing critique. And I feel like a lot of that plays into the ability that he can look into, as far as what makes me feel this way. This would make me feel this way. This dialogue would make me feel this way. And he would actually input it, I feel, into his writing. When it comes to Clerks in general, we get introduced to Dante and Randall. And it's very much not really like American Pie type aspect, but two best friends getting together. They're maybe in the early 20s, and that's it. In the second film, you see character development with Dante, and it's primarily all about Dante. And because even the first film was all about Dante, Randall was there, but as a support, basically as a best friend. Second one, again, Dante, character growth in that aspect. Randall grows a little bit, but not so much. He's still Randall. But in this film, it's no longer a Dante film. It is now a Randall film. And it's all about Randall. And that's what I kind of went into knowing a little bit, but didn't know how heavy it would be a Randall flick. And I enjoyed it that much more because when I saw the trailer, I was like, great, fantastic. We get to see the character development within Randall. This is a different direction. I like this direction. I want to see more Randall going. Like, just want to see the character developing, because we've had Dante before. But the level of character development that he was able to put into for like an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute flick was not, I wouldn't say complex, but it was enough to the point where like you took a character from A to Z within an hour and 45 minutes. We got the Randall we used to know or got to know within the first two flicks, all the way to a brand new Randall at the end of the movie. And like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Man, yeah, I didn't, it started off the way we're used to seeing a Kevin Smith movie, dick and fart jokes, essentially, and then like the best way I can describe it is he's been making movies for us, the Jay and Silent Bob movies. Even the second one was for us. I felt like this last one was for him, for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. It was definitely the movie he wanted to make to show us instead of just making a movie for us. And that I could be completely way off base on that, but that's how I feel. I feel like, he's known where he's wanted to go in direction for a while now. And, he's finally was able to get his platform the way he wanted it, all the people back the way he wanted it. And I mean, the way he ended it, the way he started it, first of all.
Yeah.
With Bex, I just was floored immediately.
I wasn't expecting it.
In like the show, the anxiety and the mental anguish that Dante was going through the entire time, and then the movies thing, and like bringing her back, is, spiritually I was just like, holy, I was like, I've never seen Kevin Smith do anything like this before. This was totally beyond you, and I love the guy, beyond what I expected he could even do, truthfully.
And truthfully, beyond the acting aspects that we've seen from both Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson. Look at
O'Halloran, that last scene when before he had his, the big O, or big O, jeez, the big H. Oh God, it's a late night. Like that was intense.
Mm-hmm.
That was unreal acting.
Like he definitely went for the ugly cry.
Sure.
Like in the first sequence, as far as when Rosario Dawson comes back as her character in the graveyard. First of all, I had no idea. I was not expecting to see her thing that says, Becky Hicks. Beginning of the year, I think it was like 1980s or 70s to 2006.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
I was like,
she's
what?
dead.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. But if you think about the fact that Kevin was like, yeah, Rosario Dawson, she didn't have a lot of time. So we kind of had to fit her in and kind of figure out her character. So it's like, okay, that makes sense now. But go jumpstart to the graveyard, because during this movie, I was like, okay, where's the kid? I want to see the kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, that would be such greatness just to see, their kid and him growing as a father. And then in the graveyard, I was expecting, banter back and forth, like how they did in the second Clerks movie, where it's fun, go giddy, maybe a little bit serious, but not as serious as what they brought to the flick, what the seriousness of the ugly cry. And then he mentioned that she was pregnant during the time period of her death, which of course we later find out that it was because of a drunk driver, and it killed both her and the kid.
In the time frame, we're not talking about very long after
Clerks 2.
Right, we're talking about months.
Yeah.
Or a month within that time frame that this happened. Yeah, and that floored me even more. Like, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Like that rocked me. And I was like, I never thought a Kevin Smith film would ever rock me in that direction before. And I've not come out of it yet.
Yeah, it happened. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go this direction. So, I mean, that was definitely a heavy hitter. And I think at that moment I realized, like, oh, this is where we're going. And the whole thing about him leaving, like you said, movies, the dude just leaves because he emotionally can't handle it, and comes back and he's drunk. And then of course, him and Randall have that banter back and forth, like, all about you. No, it's all about you. No, it's all about you. That typical, thing. And then I guess we might as well talk about it now. The big H.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
I had never seen it go on that. I did not expect, and I mean, I'll just say it. I did not expect Dante to die.
Mm-mm.
I how would I have expected that this is the way that this is going to go out? But I mean, like, when I look back on it, though, I mean, it makes sense. Like the way that the movie was progressing, the way that the story was being told, it made sense. And like the flashback from, or not the flashback, but like in the end of the movie with Elias, and he's like, I told you when Mr. Dante's gone, you're going to be my best friend. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh my
Now that
God.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I was sitting there. I was just like, I don't know how to feel about this.
Mm-hmm.
I think my wife's a therapist. Good Lord.
And see that's the thing too. Like I had a feeling that they were going to lead to that. Especially like the bantering back and forth, like in the quick stop when he's drunk. I was like, okay, at some point I feel like they're going to make him have a heart attack.
Mhm.
However, I hope they don't, because I feel like it's kind of like nowadays it's like, oh, I saw that coming type thing. So I kind of saw that aspect coming just by a hair. But I also felt like they were gonna, like, make up whatever, like in Clerks 2. But then he had a heart attack, like, okay, called it. And then he ends up dying. I was like, oh, didn't call that. But I it sounds bad, but like I like that direction because it's least expected.
It made
Because
sense. Yeah, it was least expected, but it
Mhm.
makes sense when you're looking back at the movie. Everything that led up to it, his anguish with Rosario, with Bex dying, the constant reminders, and how the only thing that he could do to be happy was to be with her.
Mhm.
And in the end, that's where he goes, like that makes sense. I don't
And,
like it, but it makes sense.
and the other thing that I caught in the movie too is the fact that how much respect Randall has for Dante in a
Sure.
way, because even when they're looking for characters for the flick, Dante goes up to him as he's reading the script. He goes, hey, I really want to thank you for leaving a certain part out. And Randall was like, yeah, no problem. Like, it's not a big deal for him leaving it out, because he understands that his friend is going through so much hurt that he doesn't want to bring that up, which is why I don't believe that he felt like movies was going to be a big deal, because he shared the memories with him. But I don't think he realized that, yeah, we shared memories, but we also shared memories with her. And I
Mhm.
think that was kind of like the issue with that. And then it clicked for him. The scene that I had to fight back a little bit was the very ending, where, like, I kind of I at this point I didn't know where it was going to go, if he was going to survive, if he wasn't going to survive, because Randall pops in with the laptop and he goes, hey, I made the movie, let's watch it. And of course he's in ICU watching the movie. And then it kind of clicked, but not so much, because then they weren't watching Randall's movie, they were watching the original Clerks movie.
Mhm.
And then at that point I was like, oh, are they actually going to go this direction? Because that's when it hit me, like, they're not watching Randall's movie, they're watching the movie that we watched that's supposed to be about his life.
I
And
knew it was gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I knew it was gonna happen just before that, because Randall was making too light of the situation. Well, I had a heart
Okay.
attack and I'm just fine, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna kill Dante. I knew it then.
Oh, okay.
I was like, there. That's the lead up right there. He's making it like, oh, well, I got through it, so everything's fine, and he got
Mm-hmm.
through it fairly easily. But that's not how it goes. Again, we went through 80% of the people that have that
Mm-hmm.
procedure, or that terrible thing happened to him. So I'm like, oh, I knew it. I just sat there and I was like, oh, they're gonna kill this guy. They're gonna kill my man. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, and see, that clicked for you that early on. It didn't until, like, I realized that, oh, he's watching his own life. He's watching his life flash before his eyes. And then I knew it was a definite, as well. I kind of knew it was a definite as soon as, like, Rosario Dawson sat next to him in the
Yeah.
theater. I was like, okay, so he's going farther into it. Let's see how this plays out. And then she says, wait, why are you getting up? There's so much more to watch. Don't you want to like continue the journey or whatever? And he goes, no, I trusted the director.
Mhm.
And he just walks off with her. I was like, oh, it's done.
And cinematically, that's obviously what Kevin wanted. That's
Mhm.
like exactly how it wanted. I wish I didn't make that connection so early on, but I was like, oh, he's gonna die, and then he died. I was like, shit. I was like, oh, damn. Okay.
But
Let's-
you could definitely see the characteristics between the friends and the growth, because other than the whole thing of, hey, thank you for taking this part out, there was also the sequence of where Dante was proud of Randall when he was filming, and he took a photo with him,
the photo,
and he's
yeah.
looking and he's doing all the scenes and the sequences, and you knew that Dante was proud of him.
Yep, for sure.
So I like that part.
There was a lot of little moments like that too. Like I need to watch this movie again. I need to. It's like so fresh in my mind right now that everything's just kind of squirreling around,
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we should talk about some of the funnier parts so I don't sit here and sob anymore than I already have for the last few hours.
Well, let's talk about this, because I kind of have a thought process in my head. Was there anything that you were expecting that didn't happen, or something that's you kind of had it played out in your head or your mind, like, oh, this would have been interesting if we went X, Y, and Z direction?
That's a good question. Because I didn't, and I think it's because I went in so ill prepared that I didn't. I tried not to purposely think about anything. Like I wanted to see it as raw up here as much as possible, because just like like his movies, and especially the Clerks series in general, means so much to me. Like just the just everything about it. I tried to see it so raw, so I didn't. I maybe I'm too close to the situation because it's just been a couple hours at this point, and I haven't had any time to really wrap my head around it yet.
Dude,
So
I did a whole full 15-minute review like right after. So you're golden. You're in the same state that I was.
I can't. I'm so ill prepared. What about you? What about yourself? Maybe that'll jog something for me.
So for me, going back to the whole kid thing, and like a lot of thought process that I have is usually when I'm in a room by myself, like quiet or taking a shower and just thinking. And one of the thought processes that I had was, what if we got to the point where the kid was born and Dante was raising a kid by himself, where it's just, a single dad.
I thought about that too. You bring up a good point. I'm like, okay, she's gone, but maybe the kid's still around. Obviously, yeah.
Like
I
raising
thought
the
about
kid
that too. Yeah.
as a
Okay.
single dad.
Yeah.
And then as the movie progresses, right? And then I thought, like, okay, well, what if we still killed off Dante, right? And then that would leave the kid by herself with who to go to.
It'd have to be Randall.
It would have to be Randall. And
Randall.
how much of a much more character development would that propel Randall to be, and how much more would Randall change in that circumstance, because now he has a kid. It's like Mallrats.
Sure.
What's his face? The character that lives in the basement with all the comic books and video games.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like the character development that he had to go through in terms of, getting out of his mom's basement, getting out of the comic book, stuff like that, where he carried on with his life. Like how much more would that have propelled Randall to be
Sure.
more of a more mature adult, more of a citizen, to now he has to take care of Dante and Beck's kid, I should say. But then I thought about it.
36-year-old kid that he's taking care of.
It's true. Elias. And then I thought about it. I was like, that could work. Yes. But I feel like that would be so much character development that what we got was perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, that would have been a whole different story, at that point in time.
You think so?
I don't, maybe. I mean, are we talking like Dante dies earlier and then we see what happens in between there, or
I'm saying like kid is like 10 years old, 11 years
Okay.
old.
yeah.
Randall's still doing his thing. The
Yeah.
story still progresses, right?
Oh, you're saying like another movie.
No, not necessarily
Oh,
another
okay.
movie, but the same movie. Randall
Okay.
still has a heart attack, still wants to make the film.
Okay.
At the same time, Dante has to juggle what his best friend and taking care of his best friend, as
Mhm.
well as taking care of the kid. Like maybe some sequences where he can't contribute to Randall because he has to go pick up his kid from school
Okay.
type
gotcha.
situation.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, shit. You'd have to give us another hour and a half of movie to go through that character development, I think.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not mad about it. Don't get me wrong. I'd have been there on pins and needles the whole time, so it really wouldn't matter to me. I think the concept is awesome. I really wish the kid was there. I really do. Like in general, like, and when he was having that flashback when Randall had was in the hospital, when he was having a flashback and she was coming in on the gurney, and I noticed that she was still pregnant at the time and she was still wearing her movie stuff, and I was like at that point in time, I was like the kid's dead too. And then
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I noticed because I looked for it, because I was like, okay, Bex is dead. We caught that from the cash register, right? And then I noticed he was having a flashback, and then all of a sudden you see her getting rolled in, and I noticed, the hump, in her stomach, and I was like, oh, she's still pregnant. And then from there, I'm like, shit, we're not even gonna have a kid. That was my process, and then unfortunately, I was right too. I wish I didn't do that movie so much. I wish I didn't like dissect as I'm watching so much, and I just sat there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really sad. Like I was really, if I had to say I was disappointed, which I'm not disappointed in the movie whatsoever, but I am sorely disappointed that I never got to see the life of Dante, his child, and Bex together. Like that was very sad, because I was very much expecting that.
Brain. Imagine.
Yeah.
Sitting in the theater, watching his life, right? Bex comes sit next to him. He's not all the way at the end of the row. His daughter comes, sits next to him as well.
Oh God. What are you trying to tear me apart right now, dude?
That just came
in to me. I'm gonna dream about that tonight. Why would you do that to me?
That just came in.
Oh,
sitting in the theater, Bex comes in, daughter comes in, and he knows that it's his daughter. And on the way out, he's holding hands with both of them.
Because the daughter would have been 16 at the time.
She probably would have been 16, yes. But I'm also thinking of like Avengers Endgame, where Tony Stark's little girl was so young, and in the deleted scene, it was Catherine Langford who played her, and she's like in her 20s at that point in the Soul Stone.
My thought process would have been Harley Quinn.
But Harley was already Jay's daughter.
But not in this universe, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess sort of. Yeah, but I mean, she was also there in the movie.
What, Rosario Dawson?
No, like Harley Quinn was already in this movie, but not as his daughter.
Yeah, well, she was Jay's daughter.
In this movie?
Yeah, she was at the funeral and she was sitting right next to Jason Mewes.
I remember that, but I guess I never made the connection that that's what's going on. But I guess that makes more sense now all of a sudden. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that her boyfriend who played Elias's friend? Yeah. Okay, right. And that's why they had that little look at the end there with each other. Yep. Okay, I thought so. I'm gonna have to tell the wife about that because she'll she'll get a kick out of that. But I was like, I'm pretty sure that's her boyfriend.
Also,
playing-
I thought that her boyfriend and Elias, his name is Austin. That's right. I thought Austin and then the character Elias, like those two
Yeah.
characters, were going to be a thing.
I mean, you could see it.
Yeah.
You could easily see it.
Especially with the transformation that Elias had in the flick.
Oh yeah, I mean, if he's gonna go Satan, he's got to go other ways too, right? Maybe.
And especially the way that he was dressing.
Every scene, it was something different, and every scene was I laughed. Every single scene that he came in wearing something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Elias. Let's talk about Elias in the hospital. Dante, Randall.
Oh, oof. It was.
Fuck you, Randall. Come on. Like all of a sudden now, like he's just clicks with it. Like seriously, he essentially said, dude, fucking mature
Applaud.
up,
Applaud.
bro. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was like, and it caught Randall completely off guard.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, tenfold. Absolutely.
Mhm.
When he did that and when he was having that serious moment, he wasn't talking like the Elias that we knew.
Mm-mm.
Like he wasn't talking about Transformers Elias. He was talking like you and I are talking now, but it's like, Randall, seriously, you gotta be kidding me. Your best friend is in the bed, probably dying. Like he was so that go giddy Elias was no longer there. That faux pas that he has as his transformation, it was no longer there. It was down to earth. Like, dude, no, this is like a friend talking to you about getting your shit together. Like,
Mhm.
this is like, like a brother saying, you either go in there or I'm going to beat your ass type situation.
Well, totally different side of Randall that we've never seen this whole time.
You mean Elias?
Oh yeah, Elias. Thank you, Elias. This whole time we've never seen anything. We've seen a lot of different character development, between all the other characters, but between the two movies up until that point, Elias has been Elias. Like there's no,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm sick of your shit. Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course he flips back to Elias again at the end though.
Oh,
But I mean, it was like that bitch slap of truth that Randall needed at the time to be like, okay, this is serious. I have to be here for my friend.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
And he finished the movie to show his friend, and that's when he had the clarity of like, I'm not me without you. And this movie is about you.
Oh, and then what about Dante there spiritually at the end, just standing at the counter, behind the counter?
Oh,
Get
yeah.
the fuck out of here. Come on. Killing me, Kevin.
Because you didn't really feel like Randall was alone until the moment where Elias goes with I'm going to use his real name, goes with Austin off the screen, and then Randall's just sitting or standing
that rubber
there.
band, just like playing with it, like, but he looks lost. And that's what's sad to me, and that's how we end this. But then it's like, also you're thinking, okay, Dante's still there for him.
Like how Bex was.
Like how Bex was. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So like Randall will still never be alone because Dante will always still be there for him and with him. I don't know. It's beautiful. Fuck you, Kevin Smith, for what you do to me. And I honestly thought it was beautiful. For as beautiful of a movie as Kevin Smith can make, I feel like this is, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's why I wanted to start like a hashtag where it's Clerks Swan Song, because it is the swan song to like the Clerks trilogy. Like,
it's his
no
own
more Clerks movies. Like, this is the it. Like, okay, show Randall and like other Jay and Silent Bob movies, or maybe even the Moose Jaws movie in the future. Okay, where we lose Silent Bob, which is the movie we lose him. So like show Randall there, or any other movie, like maybe the third installment. Well, no, Moose Jaws is the third installment to the Canadian trilogy, but like show Randall through the other flicks that he creates, and then there you go, because you could still have him show up, just don't
And you
make
can
another
see where
movie.
he is at in life,
Mhm.
even in the background, you could still see, oh, okay, this is what he's doing now.
Mhm.
I agree with you. Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're all so connected anyways. Let's talk about Grace for a moment. Not his daughter. Okay, let's talk about that. Dante named they named the daughter Grace. Kevin Smith's mom, for anybody that doesn't know, is also named Grace. And then Grace is also in the movie and has a hilarious line. The minute I saw her, I thought about you sitting over in a corner talking to Kevin Smith's mom for like an hour, just
It's in an
having
hour, was it?
we'll say a good half
Half
hour,
hour, probably.
35 minutes. That's a long
Yeah.
time talking to an elderly woman that you've never met before.
I mean, in all honesty, I could have probably talked to her like the whole time that we were there,
Yeah.
but I just didn't also want to distract her from like what was happening or what was going on and all
She
that kind of
probably
stuff.
loves
It's
sitting there
like,
talking to you. She goes to all this shit with Kevin all the time. She's probably, like, it's probably nice for her to sit there and talk to somebody,
I mean, that's
honestly,
true. That's true. Like, I thought about it, and because obviously Grace lives, down here in Florida,
Mhm.
and I thought, I was like, how funny would it be if she ended up being at the same theater as me? Because the closest theater, and she lives maybe an hour. No, not, I don't even think an hour away. I think like 45 minutes or something away.
Mhm.
And the closest one to me is like 20 minutes away in that direction of her, in her general vicinity. So I thought, like, how funny would it be if she just showed up like, hey, you remember me? Because I had a bandana on, and I don't think I had like a rock shirt on. I don't think, but and I still had the photos on my phone. Like, hey, you remember
Mhm.
me? Boom.
We're like best
But
friends.
yeah, you and me are BFFs. I got your necklace. Here you go. Here's the other half of the
You
heart.
start yelling in the theater, Grace,
Grace.
Grace. Did I tell you about that moment I had with Kevin Smith when I said that to him?
No.
Okay, so like when Erica and I went up to do the meet and greet and everything like that, and we were talking and blah 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 blah, and I was talking. I was like, it's awesome to see your mom here, and I expected. I was like, all I could think about the whole time was when I told him when he was doing his Q&A, when he was talking about his dad yelling for Grace and Grace, Grace, and he started laughing. He was like, oh my God. He's like, if I said that right now, she'd probably start looking around for him. And I was like, oh God. I was like,
Oh.
yeah. But then he was like, Grace. And he gave me a little grace. And I was like, that's amazing. I can't believe I did not tell you about that.
No, I still have the screenplay.
Oh,
that he
oh
sent
yeah,
me.
you just love fucking showing that off, don't you? That beautiful piece of work you got going on there.
The one that you just read.
Yeah, I think I'm very jealous of that top page. The best signature on there is his mom. Just in
Yeah.
general. Just in general. I mean, like, just the thought process that it says Kevin's mom. I love that. There it is. Yeah, Kev's mom, Grace Smith. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh no. I thought about getting the horror screenplay signed too. Like, I wanted to get signed by Matthew Lillard.
Okay. Really? Because
Yeah.
of 13 Ghosts?
13 Ghosts, Scream, Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess so.
Yeah. But okay, so back to Clerks 3.
Yeah, we're off topic here.
So yeah, I don't think they should make another Clerks movie. I think this is end all the be all. If anything, they should go ahead and keep Randall the way he is. If this is how it ends for Dante, I really don't want to fucking see Silent Bob go out now in Moose Jaws, because at that rate, we're going to be having Randall and Jason. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love both of those characters.
It's a lot.
Jason Mewes is a wonderful individual. He's fun, go-getting, and he was kind because he signed more than one thing for me. But those are leaving. Okay, so we lost one pivotal character in the View Askew universe. I don't think we could really afford to lose another key character.
That's fair.
Like unless if it's like more developing with Elias or more developing with Harley, his daughter, and her character. I don't know, man. I don't think we can lose Silent Bob.
I mean, we wouldn't be losing much as far as you know, character development if we did lose him. He's pretty much just been kind of the same the whole time.
I mean, true. Like unless if he brings back the guys from like Mallrats. I mean, he can always bring them back because they talked about the TV show that was supposed to be on Hulu that got scrapped. Unless if he brings back Dogma, but again, you have Jay and Silent Bob, and he can't because of the whole Harvey Weinstein thing with Dogma. So that's an issue. Yeah, I don't
know, man. I don't know where Kevin goes from here. That's the thing. None of us do. Like he hit us so hard with this one. And for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, when you do, or if you do, it hits. If you're even a slight fan, this just is just killer. But like in a beautiful way. I don't know where we go from here. Like I don't know.
Yeah, because when he said in his opening statement before we watched the movie, he goes, "The ultimate conclusion."
Yeah.
To the Clerks franchise. I knew right there. I was like, "Fuck it, this is gonna be right."
But it makes sense.
It does.
It does. But where do we go? Do we start new? I'm ready for Chasing Amy too.
See, that's another thing. Can we do Chasing Amy 2? Or can we just do a Banky? Can we do Banky and bring Ben Affleck?
Love a Banky movie. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Oh, I want to see where he is and what's going on. Like what was our last view of him? He was still in the comic book store. Bob. Yeah, he was.
He was still in the comic book store. Yeah,
he was running the comic book store in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, that's what it was. Or was it? Yeah. It was in the mall. Reboot. Yep. So yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of fleshed it out in a way. But what do you guys think? If you've seen the movie, let us know. If we spoiled it for you, but you don't care, what do you guys feel? Do you think there is moving or in a way of a Clerks 4? And if so, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, yeah, they can do a Randall and Elias, but is it going to hit the same? I personally don't think so, but we'll leave it up to you guys. Don't forget to follow us on all social platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let us know in the comments of what you feel, what year that you guys want for us to do. As much support as possible. Be sure to click the link to the merchandise below. Have a good night.